So do you think that's why more young people now are taking it to the streets to fight against that and take power back?
I think so. I mean, one statistic that I find to be very important is, when I first went to Tanzania in '97, it was a few years after Nyerere. It was a poor country, obviously, but it was a relatively equal country, right? In '97, at least, I didn't see huge wealth. I didn't see, people driving around in Mercedes or BMWs, huge Land Cruisers and other types of vehicles. I didn't see these big mansions on the beaches. I didn't see these fancy malls and restaurants. So even as it was a poor country, it was a relatively equal country. And now, if you go to Dar es Salaam, you see just tremendous wealth all over the place, and that wealth is not equally distributed. Right. So the statistic that I always find very revealing, even though we don't usually think of Africa as being an unequal society, or unequal societies, what we have seen is that 7 of the 10 most unequal societies in the world are African. And that includes, obviously rich countries like Botswana and South Africa, which everybody thinks about when we talk about inequality. But it also includes some of the poorest countries on the continent, like the Central African Republic. And this is all relatively recent. So this is something that's happened really in the past 2 decades, as African countries have grown tremendously because of investments from Asia in particular. Almost all of that wealth is being captured by a very small set of the population, right? And that population, as we've already been discussing, tends to be older, tends to be very connected politically, and young people, across ethnic communities, across races, across genders, have not benefited from the tremendous amount of wealth that has been generated in African countries over the past 3 decades. And so, of course, I think there needs to be an outlet for their anger, and I think protest has emerged as the dominant mode. Again, to come back to what we were just discussing, if African leaders were able to bring young people in, provide them with opportunities to rise up through the political system, to give them meaningful economic opportunities, to provide them with education, I don't think we would be seeing the kinds of turmoil that we see in some countries. But that's not what's happening, and of course, young people are going to express their anger in some way.
And but do you think, because to be honest, I mean, empowering young people means them taking the risk of saying, "Hey, one day I'll leave the office and this young person will take over." But I don't think that's something most African leaders want. So there's also a problem in that.
I don't know if it's a problem. I mean, the greatest asset Africa has is its young people.